Hey everyone, welcome to another Reasons and Resources episode. So as you can see, we're going on to TypeScript. If you've jumped in this video and wonder how am I selecting the different languages, basically this is a side effect. I know we don't normally like side effects in programming, but this is a side effect. Well, it's an intended side effect or intended consequence of me working through the book Programming Language Explorations, which I've done an unboxing video when it arrived a couple of weeks ago. And in preparation for any output that I want to generate from reading that book, because I find in order to learn something I have to really engage to the level of it. It's best if I pretend or even actually do produce course materials as though I was trying to teach to somebody else the principles of the languages that were covered. So that's how this series really came about. So this is the side effect of me tracking down interesting additional information beyond the book about TypeScript. So beyond my reasons for learning TypeScript, which is to do with me wanting to expand my knowledge in the area of comparative programming language theory and techniques, and the whole thing that involves cross-comparing features in different languages and different paradigms and those sort of things. What other reasons might I want to learn TypeScript, and in turn might persuade someone watching this video that it's worth taking a cursory look at some of these resources? I suppose a lot of people coming to TypeScript may already know JavaScript, and what you have in TypeScript, what it adds, as you can see here, is it adds static typing with optional type annotators to JavaScript. It's free, it's open source, it's high-level programming language. As with a lot of languages nowadays, so I suppose this is a blanket reason for learning a language, is you get to play with really nice tooling, which I quite like. So what you might notice is as you explore the various sort of IDEs and assistants to IDEs that you might be using in TypeScript, you get to explore things like auto-completion, navigation, refactoring, those sort of things. And it's really nice, I found, when you learn that around a language. I found that particularly helpful when I was trying to learn, I think it was Scala, and I had all the nice sort of Scala plugins running in my IDE, and the amount of stuff it just taught me through the tooling was really cool. Same once I started going down in another environment, using tooling to do with linters and like code checking stuff, for checking the validity of code sort of against the standard. And I found that really useful as well. So, like I said, more of a blanket thing, but I do love just learning the tooling that goes with a particular language. I mentioned about the type annotations, so that sort of makes it easier to understand what a piece of code is supposed to do, improving readability, maintainability. So one of the nice things when you start going down those sort of avenues is it gets you into just the whole process of better documenting your code, I think. And again, in other languages, I've seen some pretty cool things. I don't know whether it's specific with TypeScript yet. I haven't really gone down that far enough down the rabbit hole, but I quite like these programs now where if you comment your code in a certain way using certain styles of comment symbols, I think this might be in Erlang actually, I saw it maybe. and then you can run this documentation software against it, and it will produce like its own separate documentation that goes with the module, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, anything there that makes it easy to understand generally what a piece of code is going to do is really helpful. Again, generally, I suppose, and this is true of a lot of languages, you know, you've got this whole thing of the opportunity to engage with the community. So, you know, you've got interesting resources out there, libraries, frameworks, again, stuff that you can engage with and, you know, get you into the whole process of coding and libraries and frameworks. And sometimes when you track down resources, you find resources to other languages that you might be interested in, just because a lot of resources are sort of multi-factor in as much as, I don't know if that's the right word, but you know, you might go onto a resource and find out they're not just talking about TypeScript there, they're talking about other languages as well, either related or unrelated. So that's always really handy. Now, it sort of raises a question with any language about, you know, is the language future-proof? And that's always difficult to know. I mean, Microsoft are behind it. It's this superset of JavaScript. So as long as JavaScript is still there, I suppose it'll have a reason for existence. The question is whether someone develops another superset of JavaScript, I suppose, that might be maybe have more utility. But as we'll see in a moment, and we dig a bit deeper, which I'll go into these, we'll have a look at the job opportunity side of things, or just the perceived opportunity might be a better way of thinking about it. I'll include links to everything here, as I always do. Sometimes, in terms of reasons for learning, often it's the syntax extensions of a language that sort of make us curious. If other languages we've worked in don't necessarily include those, or they aren't built in, and we've got to do that sort of stuff ourselves. So yeah, there's some interesting rabbit holes to go down here as well. Now, I mentioned about, you know, where this is on the popularity scale. So my sort of go-to thing is usually Stack Overflow's most recent survey. I can't help it, but the thing I like about it is that it is a survey. Of course, it's limited to a sample size of people that have bothered to fill in the survey, but I find that in some ways I'm more drawn to that than necessarily just doing some sort of data analysis exercise by looking at what's on the web. You know, you can, I mean, I'd suggest using multiple sources for this, and in previous episodes I have gone through some of the other indexes that look at, you know, the popularity of programming. But you know, most of the time I spend my, you know, not my days, but I spend a part of the year when this comes out, which I think is July time, of sort of poring over this and the previous year's data. And I always find it really rewarding. So in terms of programming, scripting and markup languages for popular technologies, we can see overall we're at what, number 5? Professional developers hasn't moved. Learning to code, probably further down, I imagine. It's not probably on people's top of people's list. And then other coders, a little further down. If we look at admired and desired, this is an interesting graph to look at. I got this around the wrong way, I think, last time I used it. So this is the desired side, 33, and this is the admired side. So it's interesting to see the sort of gap between what people actually desire and what they admire. Yeah, so there, what would you say it would there? That would be, so desired would be their needs. No, hang on, would they want? Oh yeah, no, let's not go down there. Let's just use those terms. Probably not a good idea, but you can see, yeah, it's also what, number 5 as well, funnily enough. Yeah. I don't normally look at it in the context of these videos, but let's have a look at top paying. I don't necessarily think it's going to be very high up. There we go. I'm not even going to count where we are there, if that's of interest. Oh, I've still got the JavaScript one there from last time. Yeah, so in terms of moving now on to the, so we've talked about some reasons. Let's talk about resources. So great starting point is, TypeScriptlang.org, and I've included links to areas of the website, sort of deep links for want of a better word. That way you don't have to sort of drill through if you don't want to. You can just look in the description and away you go. So yeah, there's the main part of the site. I'll include a link to the download section for TypeScript. As with all these videos, I'm in none of these videos for the Reasons and Resources series will I be ever sort of showing you examples of the language, except if I'm showing you like an online resource to do with learning the languages. That's not the purpose of these videos. It's purely sort of, there's the information, knock yourself out. So I won't be doing any specific install videos in this series, but I may well put out other videos that do talk about installation or do talk about learning the language. And currently I'm sort of working on putting something together to help me consolidate my thoughts around what videos I might want to do in future about learning specific languages. We've got some TypeScript documentation on the website. We've got the TypeScript handbook as well, which is super handy, sort of getting started. We have this, which is the playground, so TypeScript playground, so we can play around in the playground with TypeScript. And then we have something called the TypeScript book as well. So you can work your way through the book. I imagine it's not dissimilar to this website, the handbook, but there's a different way in, if you like. This is through the GitHub thing. You can work your way through that. I think it said you can also download the book as an EPUB version. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Getting started with TypeScript is actually a course on Microsoft Learn. You can use that. And it's actually part of a bigger learning path. However, the prerequisite is knowledge of JavaScript, so just bear that in mind. And we think with this, you may find that really you need to obviously know some JavaScript. Yeah. Before you begin, you should have a basic understanding of JavaScript. So yeah, that's a given. So obviously watch the previous episode on reasons and resources. And some video resources. So we've got this interesting video. So this features the creator, whatever you want to call them, the developer, main developer behind TypeScript. but they've also worked on other languages. So I thought it was really interesting to get a nice, overview interview of their work. Also, there's something called the TypeScript documentary, which they're featured in alongside other people. And then we've got this, which I stumbled across, which is the TypeScript Congress. It's a playlist on the JavaScript conferences by Git Nation website, channel, meant to say that, on YouTube. And there's a number of TypeScript related presentations from that Congress. And then also, I always like to throw in a podcast episode or series. So yeah, this is just a one episode from Syntax. And again, I try and sort of make sure I do a different podcast each reasons and resources episode I do. So this is just one TypeScript episode amongst a podcast that does other stuff as well in it. So you can sort of go in there. Tasty treats for web developers. Sounds good. I like tasty treats. So there we have it. Hopefully that was useful. And as I said, I'll include all the links of stuff I've gone through here in the description. And up to you if you choose to check it out. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. And I will catch you in a future episode.